With a sense of anticipation, scientists and park officials are closely watching the layers beneath Yellowstone National Park. Recent events have surprised many, with homes shaking, indicating severe earthquakes, and it's not anymore a simple story of tranquility. Since July of 2022, Yellowstone has experienced more than 800 earthquakes, mainly centered around the Grizzly Lake region. And then on March 29, 2023, an astonishing sequence of 60 earthquakes within 12 hours rocked the park, leaving locals alarmed. So let's dive into this video today to know more about these unsettling developments. Here we begin. Yellowstone, covering a vast 2.2 million acres across Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, is a breathtaking wilderness filled with geysers, hot springs, and a variety of wildlife. Beneath its serene surface, there's a fascinating fact often overlooked. Yellowstone is more than just a park. It's a colossal volcanic caldera among the world's largest active volcanic systems. The volcanic wonder is divided into the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, including iconic geysers like Old Faithful and the Grand Prismatic Spring. Yet, it's not just any volcano. It's a supervolcano with potential eruptions thousands of times mightier than typical volcanic events. The volcanic history. The caldera itself, a massive crater, originated from 3 super eruptions spanning 2.1 million years. The first eruption, 2.1 million years ago, gave rise to the Huckleberry Ridge Tuff in a caldera over 60 miles wide. The second, 1.3 million years ago, formed the Island Park Caldera and Mesa Falls Tuff. Most recently, about 640,000 years ago, the Lava Creek Tuff eruption shaped the Yellowstone Caldera, ejecting over 240 cubic miles of rock, ash, and gases. This catastrophic event influenced global climates and ecosystems, demonstrating the incredible impact of volcanic power. Hidden depths. Imagine the force capable of enveloping a continent in ash and disrupting global climates, a potential consequence of Yellowstone's eruption. Recent studies, however, bring a startling revelation. Beneath this giant volcano lie not one but 2 magma chambers. The first chamber, discovered in the 1980s, rests around 10 kilometers below the surface, containing 10,000 cubic kilometers of molten material. At 20 to 50 kilometers below, even deeper resides a second chamber, a remarkable 4.5 times larger. This deeper chamber, discovered through seismic imaging, holds a groundbreaking secret that it could fill the Grand Canyon nearly 14 times over. While not increasing eruption chances, this finding highlights the continuous replenishment of the shallow chamber, fueling the park's geothermal features indefinitely. Seismic stirring in America's iconic park. Why is everyone talking about Yellowstone's earthquakes, and what's the fuzz all about? Well, just imagine right in the middle of America's very first national park, something quite surprising is happening under the ground. Yellowstone, known for its natural beauty, has become a real-life theater for an extraordinary geological performance. In a short 12-hour span, the northern part of Yellowstone Lake was hit by a series of shaking episodes that have amazed scientists and people who are watching. The story kicked off on March 28th with a teeny-tiny quake, just a 0.7 on the earthquake scale. But hold on, that was just the start of a truly jaw-dropping sequence. In less than half a day, there were more than 60 earthquakes, ranging from really tiny shakes to ones measuring up to 3.7 in magnitude. 2 of them were even bigger, crossing the 3.0 mark, with the mightiest hitting at 8:24 in the morning MDT. All these shaky events were closely watched by smart folks from the University of Utah seismograph stations and the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. There are more little quakes in the area still being looked at. Yellowstone quakes are not exactly rare. They happen quite often, making up about half of all the ground shaking in the Intermountain West region. But this particular episode has caused quite a stir. People are worried about the big one that might happen here. See, this area is known for a lot of earthquakes, between 1,000 and 3,000 each year. Most of them are really small and don't bother anyone, but this recent batch has made folks think about the huge one that could strike within the park. Yellowstone's geological secrets. Are the rumbles beneath Yellowstone a sign of a mighty volcano awakening? Or is the Earth just flexing its muscles, reminding us of its unpredictable might? To figure this out, let's dive into the fascinating world of Yellowstone's geology. The park rests atop something called a hotspot, a place where molten rock bubbles up from the Earth's insides. The hot spot heats up Yellowstone's cool features like geysers and is behind all the volcano stuff here. Surprisingly, it's one of the rare hotspots lurking under a big land chunk, not under the ocean. Lately, a bunch of earthquakes near the eastern edge of the Yellowstone caldera, where the last big eruption happened, has got everyone talking. People are wondering if this is the start of something big. Geologists and earthquake experts are studying the data, looking for clues that might tell us what's up with the volcano. The good news is that the University of Utah seismograph stations and the Yellowstone Volcano Observatory don't think this means a big eruption is coming soon. These quakes probably happen because fluids and gases are moving underground, a normal thing in a place that's always shaking. All those hot springs and geysers in the park aren't just for tourists. They're like signs that the earth is busy underneath. Sometimes underground water gets so hot it turns into steam and bursts out, making a huge splash. These steamy blasts can be risky, and they happen quite often, almost every year. A while back, Porkchop Geyser had an explosive moment in the Norris Geyser Basin, leaving behind a mess of rocks. And not too long ago, there was a big blast that created a crater in the park. Landslides, where chunks of land suddenly slide down, are another worry. Unsteady land mixed with weathering and quakes can make sudden slides, blocking paths and roads and causing problems for hikers and drivers. The mighty Hebgen Lake earthquake. As we dig into the secrets of Yellowstone, let's remember a huge quake in its past, the Hebgen Lake earthquake. Could history be repeating itself? So let's step back in time to a momentous event, the Hebgen Lake earthquake, the biggest ever in this area. This quake was a colossal 7.5 on the scale that measures how shaky the ground is. It caused gigantic landslides, massive chunks of land sliding down super fast, kind of like a land avalanche. One of these landslides blocked the Madison River and made a new lake called Quake Lake. The landslide raced down at around 100 miles per hour and carried about 80 million tons of rocks, dirt, and junk with it. It smashed into the Madison River Canyon, covering a campground and sadly causing the loss of 28 lives. The quake didn't just hurt people, it wrecked roads, bridges, and buildings, not only nearby but far away too. Even Yellowstone National Park wasn't spared. Stuff there got messed up too. The earthquake even changed Yellowstone's geysers and hot springs. Some sleeping geysers woke up and others started acting very differently. Imagine even the famous Old Faithful geyser changed its behavior. It erupted at different times and new hot springs and steamy holes appeared. This big event made scientists rethink how much quakes could mess things up here. They got busy. Agencies like the U.S. Geological Survey started closely monitoring things, making sure they'd know if something big was coming. They also made emergency plans and told people what to do if another quake shook things up. They also updated rules for how buildings should be made because they learned a lot from this huge quake. Wildlife mysteries. Yellowstone is full of amazing animals and plants, but these days, something's odd. People visiting are having strange run-ins with animals, especially big, shaggy creatures, especially bison. Just a couple of weeks back, a lady was hurt by a bison even though she was told to be careful. Also, very recently, there was a really sad case where a lady was found dead on a trail. The clues point to a bear, a grizzly bear, being involved. The area where it happened is closed now, so both bears and people can be safe. Investigators are still looking into what exactly happened. In exploring the mysteries of Yellowstone, there's so much more to uncover, from the ground's secrets to the animals' strange behaviors. The park's story is far from over.